Okay, Christina here to listen to some music, and today's music selection is Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones. So this is the very first reaction to the Rolling Stones on the channel, and I will admit I'm a little conflicted. I knew this was going to be a hard one because I've just never really been a fan of this group. I know of them. I'm pretty sure I've heard some of the music, but, you know, I know the names like Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, like I know of them, but I guess I never gave the group a chance. I don't know. I just never caught on to what all the fuss was about, but I know that they have a huge fan following here, so this could be my chance to finally appreciate this band. They started in 1962. This song came out in 1966. I'm not sure if I've heard it. Again, I know I've heard some Rolling Stones songs, but I don't know if this is one that will sound familiar. And the rest, we will learn as we go. At least for me, that's what I'm going to be learning. I hope you all learn something as well. And maybe I can help because I am a professional, classically trained musician, instrumentalist, vocalist, composer, and professor. So we dive into all of these little details within the music, how it was composed, the instrumentation, a little bit of music theory and form and analysis, maybe some instrument demos, and of course, how do we relate to this music? Why do we like it so much? Or why do we not like it so much? So, my mind is open. I'm going to listen to this with fresh ears. No more delay. Let's listen. Okay, here we go. Wow, okay. Well, that wasn't so bad. I'm enjoying this. The opening was really sparse, very slow. I thought it was going to be like a romantic ballad, and then the drum came in, and I was like, nope, we've got a lot of energy here. Whew. There's a cool vibe to it, like the incessant drums, and then the different guitar sounds, and I think there's also a sitar in there. I also thought it was interesting how the opening guitar line was kind of messy. Like not all the notes sounded, but that actually kind of drew me in a little bit more. I was like, what's happening here? So I think so far this is kind of unexpected. I was thinking that it would be more straight rock and roll, and I did hear that at one point, but the main part, you know, dum bum 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 bum, that's sort of what's the word I'm looking for? What's the genre? Maybe psychedelic? But is this too early for that, or is that 60s? I'm well versed on prog rock right now, so we're just getting there with this vibe of rock. So if you know, let me know. I'm here to learn. Okay, but so far, it's a cool vibe. All right, let's continue.
Cars and they are painted black with flowers and my love hope never to come back. I see people turn their heads and quickly look away. Like a newborn baby, it just happens every day. I look inside myself and see my heart is black. I see my red door, I must have it painted black. Maybe then I'll fade away and not
coming to a little mid-section here, like instrumental maybe, or just to slow down with everything so that we don't overdo it with all this energy. It'll pick back up, I'm sure. Well, more of this aesthetic is coming into play. So I'm hearing castanets. It's turning into like Carmen, the opera, you know. So, I'm not catching too many of the lyrics. So I will look at them very soon, I promise. But for now, it's more of the aesthetic that I'm grabbing onto. And I'm sure there were many listeners that were the same. So I'll get there with the meaning. I think the only other thing I have to say is the word messy comes into play. I said that a few minutes ago. There's something kind of messy about it, but like in an artistic way. Again, it kind of makes you want to listen to it more. Like it's just uncomfortable enough for you to listen and find out why these musicians are so confident playing in that style. As a classical musician, I like to hear things be polished. If something is messy, it's intended to be that way. And so I'm hearing this and I'm thinking, are they intending to make it sound like that? So don't take the messy thing as a bad thing. It's part of the vibe. Okay, well, my thoughts are still forming here. So we just got into a little slower section. Maybe this section will be a little less messy. Maybe it'll be a little bit more. But I think I'm catching on to the point of the discomfort here. So let's see where it goes. We'll back it up a little bit, get into this one again.
Green seagull turn a deeper blue. I could not foresee this thing happening to you. If I look hard enough into the setting sun, my love will laugh with me before the morning comes. I see a red door and I want it painted black. Anymore, I want them to turn black. I see the girls walk by dressed in their summer clothes. I have to turn my head until my darkness goes.
All right. That's a cool little spot right there with the humming. That's great. And the way it's being done, it's all sort of slipping and sliding all around. It's almost sounding like that sitar sound. That's pretty cool. Okay, the interlude. It stayed in step with the messiness, but it added something to it. It was shaky. So it's not muddy. We're not losing things in the sound. Things are being added into the sound, but they're all keeping their own identity, like almost fighting with one another, but at the same time making music. I don't know if that says anything about the band. Was there a lot of conflict within the band? Or maybe they just picked up their instruments and just play the way they feel like playing, and then make it all make sense. That's definitely not the classical way of making music, but that's okay. If they're dedicated to it, I can respect it. Also, I think this was just before auto-tune and whatnot, so, they didn't tune it up. That's okay. I did catch on to a few of the words, so the vibe and the aesthetic of this music was starting to settle with me enough that it kind of went into the background and I was able to suddenly hear some of the words. So they don't want other colors. They just want to paint something black, or they want all of the colors. And so it's, yeah, we'll get there, I promise. Let's just keep going. I want to finish it out. I love this humming section. It's really cool. Okay. All right. Well, there are some really cool sections in this song. And then everything sort of came together at the end for a final coda. And then they found an excellent motif, a theme, a repeated set of measures to stick with all the way to the end. They just played that over and over and over again. But there's so much going on, so many identities in there, that it stayed interesting up to the very end. And just with the humming, that's fun to hum along with. It's just very, very catchy. And then also, not just your average band instruments. So yeah, maybe I'm right with sort of the psychedelic thing. Some of the interesting instrumentation that's in there, the sitar. So there's this bass whoomp sort of sound that became more and more prominent throughout the song. And it's just really, really cool. Then there was a percussion, bum, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum. That's like Ravel's Bolero. So there's this Spanish flair to it. I love it. I would not have expected it. Again, I was just thinking they were more like straight rock and roll. Did they have more straight rock and roll stuff like even into like the 80s or something? Because I'm an 80s kid and early 90s. So I swear I remember stuff from them, and it was just more straightforward and not quite like this. So is this an outlier? Or is this what we can expect? Is this what all of the fans like so much? Just the creativity like this. Well, I want to catch some more lyrics. Let's take a look at what the lyrics are. Didn't quite catch on, but that's okay. All right. I see a red door and I want it painted black. No colors anymore. I want them to turn black. So that is the phrase there that I heard. Like they didn't want colors, or they just want, yeah, I got that. What does it mean? I see the girls walk by, dressed in their summer clothes. I have to turn my head until my darkness goes. Is this about temptation? Like turning heads in a relationship? Trying not to look at other girls? Okay. I see a line of cars and they're all painted black with flowers and my love, both never to come back. Is that like a funeral procession? I've seen people turn their heads. Oh, I just mentioned that. And quickly look away, but a different kind of turning of your head. Like a newborn baby, it just happens every day. Right, okay. So is this like if you admire another beautiful woman, that it's just natural and you can't help it, but they're still feeling guilty? I'm not sure though, because of the line of cars. Okay. I look inside myself and see my heart is black. I see my red door. I must have painted it black. Oh, yeah. So maybe that's like the love for someone and they're kind of messing it up. Maybe then I'll fade away and not have to face the facts. It's not easy facing up when your whole world is black. No more will my green sea go turn a deeper blue. I could not foresee this thing happening to you. That sounds like guilt, a lot of guilt. If I look hard enough into the setting sun, my love will laugh with me before the morning comes. That's wishful thinking, I think. So then I see a red door and I want it painted black. I see the girls walk by dressed in their summer clothes. I have to turn my head until my darkness goes. I want to see it painted black. Black as night, black as coal. I want to see the sun blotted out from the sky. Wow. I want to see it painted black. So to me, this speaks of temptation in a relationship. I'm not 100% sure of that. And yeah, I don't know. There's definitely conflict in here within oneself. And not really being happy with yourself, but trying to convince yourself that it's okay. So if it's not about that, it could be about mourning the loss of someone and just not wanting to face those feelings. I don't know, the line of cars threw me off. See, with flowers and my love both never to come back. But that could just be a metaphor for the end of a relationship. Well, in the end, it seems like maybe they gave in to the temptation or they're just tired of it. But I think they really tried. They tried to resist. And they do feel kind of guilty. But maybe they're just not ready to commit. If I'm wrong about all of that, let me know. But I can see how the aesthetic of this song might fit in with these words. That Spanish flair, there's a lot of romance and seduction in that style of music, at least when it's referred to Carmen. But with Bolero, that's more like a thought that just keeps coming to you and really drives you crazy a little bit. Okay, well, that's pretty deep stuff there. Big emotions. That's a big conflict that this person is having to handle. So let's take a dive into this and see how they recreated those emotions in the music. Okay, sorry, my camera just turned off, like it just stopped recording. I'm not sure why. Okay, so where was I? Yeah, so the lyrics are pretty deep. And so now let's take a look at the music to see how it recreates those emotions through the music. Let's just start from the beginning. It was very simple and innocent at the beginning, but it changed very quickly. Yeah, see how imperfect it is? Okay, so that's like a heart beating. So is at the beginning of a relationship, and then, we're really feeling a lot of romance and a lot of feelings. Things just pick up right away. And now this person is walking around outside dealing with temptation. I think that this can represent all of that. The romance, the conflict, guilt, remorse, mourning, all of the above. And it has that flair to it. And even here at the beginning, it is still kind of simplistic. It's sort of stripped down a little bit. They add a lot as we go. all more and more instruments. But I still really like how it's imperfect. So let's move ahead. There was one spot I noticed you can really kind of hear some of the notes, some of the tuning is not quite right. It's not perfect. Here we go.
I see a line of cars and they are painted black, with flowers and my love hope never to come back.
Yeah, so it's actually, I think it's the combination of the guitar and the sitar over the top of one another, and it's really messing with the tuning system. So it sounds like one of the two of them is out of tune, but they're actually not. Like if you played just the guitar, it would sound fine. If you played just the sitar, it would sound fine. But when you play both of them together, it doesn't work. That's interesting because that could also represent a relationship. Like if they're both in a relationship and one person is very committed and the other person is struggling with that, they might be singing the same melody, but their approach to it is going to be very different and it's not going to gel together very well. So I don't know. I think that just gave way to even more conflict. Let's hear that again.
Do
you hear them both?
Flowers and my love hope never to come back.
Yeah.
I see people turn their heads and quickly look.
All right, so this section is just more straightforward rock and roll. This is sort of what I always thought the Rolling Stones sounded more like, but then the other vibe with the romance and the seduction, that's the part that I never really noticed before. So this is fun. Okay, let's go to the hum chorus, because when it first came in, it was very unexpected and very, very cool. It's kind of sassy. Okay, so I heard the sitar, that sort of sound in between, that the sliding that happens in between the notes on the sitar, and I feel like the voice is imitating that. And it is kind of sassy. Like But at the same time, it cries a little bit. So this person is maybe giving in to temptation, but again, feeling guilty. And again, if this is not about that, if it's more about like mourning the loss of someone, I apologize. I can see how that could play into this as well, but I don't know, the romance and the commitment, fidelity thing, I think is maybe the better guess. Let me know if not. Okay, at the end, I wanted to just bring up that cool bass whomp sound. That's the best I can recreate it. So let's just hear it quickly. Let's see if we can find it. There, that's it. Yeah. A little improv there in the guitar or the sitar. And we hear more of that. It's getting messier, sassier, more remorseful even. Interesting. Yeah, and so that little motif right there, that little theme, it is so solid that, yeah, they can repeat it all they want. And there's enough improv going on behind it that it really does keep it interesting. It really does. Okay, that was Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones. And I liked it. I'm glad I gave this group a chance, this song a chance. And some songs that sound really appealing at first can get kind of old really fast. I don't think that this one would do that. I think there's a chance that it could be overplayed, like if you just hear it on radio stations all the time. But there's enough detail in it that's really interesting that it sort of stays fresh, even with all the repetition there at the end. And it starts out with a little bit of emptiness, and then we have that brief interlude in the middle, and then when the humming comes in, it just really keeps things a little spicy, a little bit flavorful, and keeps us engaged. So I like that. But besides this, I really don't know much about this group. I'm trying to think of what are some of their other songs. I can't think of any right now. So I guess we have to change that. So let me know in the comments if there are other songs I should react to, or if there's other info about this group in general that I should know. I mean, I see why I like this song, but I'd love to hear from you all as to why you like the song or the group in general. So thank you for joining me on this first song. I'm sure there'll be more in the future. So until then, just remember, you don't have to be perfect. You can be a little messy and just be okay. And keep listening.